Hello, I'm Robbie Powell, a product manager on the SaaS data visualization team.
And I'm Brad Morris, and I lead development of the SaaS Via SDK for JavaScript.
SaaS Visual Analytics is a starting point in SaaS for discovering and sharing insights. A guiding principle for visual analytics is that insights don't become valuable until they're shared. Welcome to our session on embedded insights. Today, Brad and I are going to show you ways that you can take the insights you discover in SaaS Visual Analytics and share them with emphasis through dashboards, corporate portals, and custom websites. As you explore your data in Visual Analytics, you discover insights. This is a business analysis report for the retailer eCalico. Included in this report are insights, including key performance indicators and interactive, informative visualizations. I can share and schedule distribution of this report with end users, and I also want to call out and highlight some of these insights by including them in our corporate dashboard. The SaaS technologies that make up embedded insights let you share the insights you discover through corporate dashboards, such as the one you see here showing key metrics about eCalico, encouraging end users to explore more deeply, and also integrating external content such as the Learn More section, allowing your end users to better understand customer satisfaction surveys. Your insights can also be used to tell a story, bringing together text, graphics, and other outside content and data visualizations to further emphasize your insights and to get your point across. So what are embedded insights? Well, embedded insights start with providing you with the ability to take your report content or insights from your visual analytics reports and embed them into your custom dashboards. And authenticated connections to SaaS Via is supported for scenarios where secure access to up-to-date data is required. And we want to make this as easy as possible by providing a low-code, UI-driven way for you to generate HTML elements that you can then embed in your dashboard. The SaaS Via SDK for JavaScript is a collection of JavaScript libraries, and it's the key technology that enables embedded insights. The authentication library supports end-user authentication through SaaS Via, and the Visual Analytics Report Components library provides support for the 3 HTML elements you see here, allowing you to embed into your dashboard complete reports, individual report pages, and individual report objects. Now I'll hand it over to Brad to take you through the process of building a dashboard that embeds insights from Visual Analytics reports.
Thanks, Robbie. As mentioned, the SaaS Via SDK for JavaScript contains libraries that give you the ability to embed SaaS Via content into your own web pages and applications. So I'm going to be showing you how to create your own custom dashboard page using the VA Report Components library. Let's jump right in. I'm starting this demo in SaaS Visual Analytics, where I'll be giving an overview of the report that we'll use to power our custom dashboard. This report is showing company performance data for our fictitious company eCalico. And as you can see, we've designed it to give an overview of key company performance metrics like reputation score and satisfaction. We've also designed interactions between visuals so that we can filter across variables. And as you can see, this is a multi-page report that where each page dives into a different aspect of company performance. So now let me switch gears a little bit and we'll jump over to our dashboard that we're going to create. This is the eCalico Business Analysis Dashboard. And as you can see, this dashboard is a mashup of both SaaS content. You can see key values, we see our geo map, and external content. And this really gets to the point that Robbie was making, that the power of the SDK is to provide customer insights to them where they're at, right? Where they get their other information. And that's what the SDK does by letting you mash up content and embed visual analytics content wherever you want on the web. So this is a quick overview here to get your bearings. and just understand what it is we're building, but also understanding that it is really the power of SAS Visual Analytics reporting that allows us to do that. So now I'm going to try to help you understand exactly how the SDK works and how you can build this yourself. So I'm going to jump over here to my editor and show this really at this point empty HTML page. I've got no content. I have a little bit of styling here prepared ahead of time. One thing I do want to point out is we are pulling in the VA report components library. So this is part of the SAS via SDK for JavaScript. And as you can see, we're pulling this in from our SAS developer CDN. And this is really the piece that's going to provide us the functionality that we need to render report elements in an HTML page. So in the simple example, we're going to start by actually embedding the entire report into that web page. And it's really, as Robbie pointed out, it's very much a low-code solution. So we go to this copy link this copy link dialog in VA, and we can ensure that we have this embeddable web component checkmark checked. And what that does is that's going to let us copy this custom HTML tag called SAS report. So let's copy that and move over here to our page. I'm going to paste that in so that we can see. And you can see this is a tag called SAS report that's understood by the VA report components library. And we're telling it that we do want to authenticate with our SAS credentials. And I'm giving it the base URL for our VIA instance. And I'm also specifying the report that I want to open. And I'm going to save this file and come back over here and refresh my page, which was empty, and see that now it's going to load our eCalico report just as we saw it within Visual Analytics. And we're going to see all our visuals, all our key values, and see all the interactions that we had before, right? And so that's the power of the SDK. That's the low-code approach where we can easily go from designing a report in VA to exporting it here to a custom web page. Now, this doesn't really show off the true value and power of the SDK. What we want to do is we want to get to the point where we can mash this up with other content. And so in order to do that, we don't want to pull in the entire report. We want to pull in individual elements of the report. And that's really just no harder than it was to pull in the full report. Just instead of going to the report toolbar, we go to an individual object and we go to its object toolbar and we choose copy link there. And again, we see that we can choose embeddable web component and that we get a custom HTML tag. So when I copy link there, we're going to paste this here so that we can see it. We can see that this is slightly different. This is the SAS report object tag, and we're giving a little bit of extra information here. We're telling it the specific object out of this report that we want to embed. And so that is exactly what we've done to build out this eCalico business analysis dashboard, is repeatedly gone through and decided what elements we want to pull from the report into our page and copy those into our HTML, right? And you can see that even though we're pulling in different elements individually, we do still retain those interactions across those elements within the web page, right? So that's key. We get the full power of Visual Analytics and defining those interactions, those rich interactions, but we get the full control of HTML and CSS that allow us to design a custom dashboard or custom application and lay out these visuals wherever we want, right? We've taken the hard part and allow SAS Visual Analytics to crunch the data and run the queries and It's really this low-code approach that allows us to embed those results here. And it's important to know as well, these are live. We're making a live connection back to SAS Visual Analytics. So as the data is changing, we're going to get those updates here, right? So everything here is a live connection, authenticated connection back to Via. All right, so that is the way that we would build out this dashboard, just to show you kind of a little bit what that looks like. Again, this is the HTML page for the dashboard. While it's got a lot more content than the simple page I showed before, the key thing is it's really just a collection of SAS report objects, as we showed, as well as other static content that I pulled in, text, images, links out to other pages. And this is really where we get that mashup behavior. You can see as well, of course, we're pulling in the VA report components library as well. But what I want to also point out is, and I haven't talked about yet, is how authentication comes into play here. So you can see that we're actually pulling in another library here called SAS Auth Browser. And SAS Auth Browser is an additional library that's part of the SAS Via SDK for JavaScript, and it controls authentication. Specifically, it gives you fine-grained control of how your authentication flow works. So what I've shown so far with this dashboard has been already authenticated. We were already logged into SAS. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come over here and I'm going to sign out. So I want to show you our custom flow that we built for our dashboard. So when I come back over here, you can see that we automatically detect that we're actually not logged in. And so the first thing you see is we're showing a different view. We're showing this custom logon screen that we've designed for the dashboard. And with it, this sign in button. And you can see as we sign in, we're really signing in through SAS. And this is going straight to Via, utilizing the SAS logon in Via. And then once we log on, we automatically show our dashboard. And it's really surprising how simple that is. So if we go and we look at the code to do this, we can see that the first thing we're doing is using the SAS Auth Browser library to create a credential object. And we're telling that our base Via URL. So that's telling the authentication library where to go to authenticate. And then after that, I've got a custom method here that will do authentication for us. And it's going to do this as soon as we open the page. And the first thing it's going to do, it's going to ask the SAS Auth Browser library whether or not we're authenticated. If we are authenticated, then I'm telling it, okay, great, navigate to my content page. This is custom JavaScript code that I have. If we are not authenticated, then we fall through this catch block. And in that case, I want to navigate to the logon page. And then I'm going to set up my logon button to have an on-click listener for when the user clicks the button. And in that case, I want to ask the SAS Auth Browser library to pop up the login, the SAS login. And I'm waiting for the user to log in. When they have, I'm going to navigate to our content page. And so it's that simple. Really, with this little bit of JavaScript here, we've defined a custom authentication flow that allows the user to log in. And so I'm just going to come back and show you that flow again now that you've seen the code, right? We're going to show the logon page. We're going to let the user sign in. And then once they have, we're going to show our dashboard. And so integrating in a custom authentication flow is really simple with the SAS Via SDK for JavaScript. So I'm going to pass it back over to Robbie to continue on with his presentation.
Thanks, Brad. So Brad just showed you how to build a dashboard that embeds insights from your reports in Visual Analytics and authenticates each end user over a live connection to SAS Via, providing secure access to data that's always current and up to date. So that's great for an internal audience where the number of end users is well known, and those users can be authenticated through the corporate identity service. But what if we want to share this dashboard with a large, possibly unknown number of end users, and we don't want them all hitting our SaaS Viya server? We want to preserve SaaS Viya for use by our data scientists, business analysts, and other internal users. We need a way to scale the delivery of our dashboard. The way we support that through Embedded Insights is by taking data snapshots through Visual Analytics and deploying those snapshots on commodity web server infrastructure alongside your dashboard HTML. So what does that look like? So what you see here is what Brad just showed you. You have your authenticated connection to a live SaaS Viya. You have your SaaS Viya on the left side with your data and your reports. The content going across an authenticated connection to your dashboard, which is being served up and hosted by a web server that's then being shared with your end users. Providing a scalable solution starts off in the very same way. You have SaaS Viya on the left with your data and your VA reports. You have your end users on the right, a commodity web server serving up your dashboard. The difference is instead of an authenticated connection, what you do is you go into Visual Analytics and you create a report package. This can be done through the Visual Analytics user interface or through the SaaS Viya command line interface. Then once you have that report package, you deploy it to your web server, and instead of pointing your dashboard back to SaaS Viya, you point your dashboard to the data snapshot, the report package, as the data source. And so now your users are being served up by data that completely resides on your commodity web server infrastructure. And that data can be updated at your choosing by scheduling a job through the Visual Analytics user interface or by writing a script that uses the SaaS Viya command line interface and scheduling that. So now I'll hand it back to Brad to take us through how we can deliver embedded insights at scale.
Thanks, Robbie. As mentioned, we're going to show you how to deliver SaaS Visual Analytics report content at scale. And we're going to do this by starting with the eCalico business analysis dashboard that we created earlier. If you remember, this dashboard we created is fully connected to SaaS. We've authenticated and we're fetching live data through SaaS Viya. So the first thing we want to do in order to deliver this at scale is to export our SaaS report package. And I can do this through SaaS Visual Analytics UI. I can come to the export menu item and choose report package. And this will launch the export report package dialog. And here it's going to show us all of our possible options for export. We get to choose the contents of the report that we actually want to export. So that's our step one. So I know that the eCalico dashboard uses all of the elements of our main container on page one. So I'm going to choose main container, and you see that selects all the key values and visuals underneath that main container. I'm then going to go down to our returns monitor page. And from here, I'm going to pick the few visuals that we included from this page in our dashboard. I know we included reason for return, as well as all of the key values, the bar chart, and the pie chart. So I've made these selections. And now before I click export, I'll let you know as well that what's going to happen, this is going to create our exported report package zip file. And it's going to automatically download that to our downloads folder. But you have the option to also save this out to SaaS content. So in this case, by default, that's chosen, and it's going to save to my folder. So I'm going to click export. And you can see it lets me know that the report package is being generated and it will download when it's ready. And this could take a little while depending on how large your report is, how much data is in that report. Because you have to understand if we're going to let you view this report and these report contents while not connected to Viya, we need to extract all of the data and run all of those queries ahead of time and give you a package that allows you to view it. So that's what's happening now. Luckily, we don't have to wait for that. I've already actually exported that package and brought it into my workspace here. You can see this is just business performance analysis.sas report package.zip. And I've unzipped it already here under my dashboard publish folder, and I called it report package. And I'm just going to show you the general structure. We've got some CSS, we have data files, and we've got a report definition. We also have a package index.html, and that's what I'm going to show you first. Actually, before I do that, just to kind of level set, I'm going to actually sign out of Via because, as I mentioned, we're creating this exported package that should not need to connect back to Via. So I'm going to come back over here, and we're going to switch over to dashboard publish. I'm going to go to publish report package, package index.html. And this is generated automatically by the export process. And what we see first off is our table of contents here showing what we exported. We can see we exported the main container as well as quite a few elements coming from the returns monitor page. And so these should all look familiar. These are the elements that we have included in our dashboard. But now they're here ready for us to use in a publishable page that is not connected to SAS Via. So in addition to showing you these objects, we also have code snippets that let you easily pull those objects into your HTML page, just like we did from the copy link dialog in VA. As you'll notice here, these are the same SAS report object elements that we showed before. If you're paying attention, there's one slight difference. We don't specify the VIA URL, and we don't specify a report URI. Instead, we specify the location of the package URI. So in this case, it's pointing directly to the current location. So before I jump into showing our newly created dashboard, let's take a look at the actual dashboard HTML and what I need to do to set that up to use our exported report package. So I'm going to go to the index.html page for this new dashboard publish page. And I'm going to show you an example of what we've done. I'm going to scroll down to one of the SAS report objects. Again, you'll see we specify package URI instead of report URI. And you can see I'm telling it to go to the current directory and look for the report package directory underneath our current location. And so that points directly to the package. And I've done this for all of the report objects. I didn't have to change the object name because we're using the same source report and they have all the same object names. And I didn't have to specify the VIA URL either because we're not connecting to VIA. So once we've done that, I can come back to this page and I will open our new dashboard. And what we'll see is it looks exactly like our old dashboard, right? We have all the same visuals. We get all of the same rich interactions and filtering that we had before, but we are not authenticated with SAS Via. We are not connecting to SAS Via to get the data for the report. So this is really powerful. We've now extracted all of the behavior that we had from a fully connected, authenticated SAS report. And we've bundled that in a way that lets you deploy your dashboard or your insights out to a larger audience and not have to worry about the cost incurred to connect back to SAS Via, not have to worry about authentication. If this is a public dashboard that you want to share with people outside of your organization, this will allow you to do that without ever having to open up security access into SAS Via. So we're using the power of SAS, the power of visual analytics to, again, do the heavy lifting, creating that report and running all the complex analytics, but then exporting that out so that we can design our viewing experience and publish it out to folks and a wide audience, just using simple commodity web servers. And like I showed before, these are all interactive, and we can do all of the same things here as the viewer of this report that I could do with a live version. All right, I'm going to pass it back over to Robbie to continue on with the rest of this presentation.
Thanks, Brad. So shifting gears a bit to address a different use case, you may have internal scenarios where you want to provide customized access to SaaS content from within a custom portal. Situations where you want to allow authenticated users to navigate their content in SaaS Viya and have it presented through a corporate portal. This can be achieved using the Content Components library in the SaaS Viya SDK for JavaScript. And you see the content navigation HTML elements that make up the user interface that you can surface through your custom portal. So now I'll hand it back to Brad to show us how we can build a custom portal using embedded insights and leveraging the SaaS content navigation library.
You've now learned how to use the SaaS Viya SDK for JavaScript to set up authentication and embed SaaS Visual Analytics content. I'm now going to incorporate the Content Components library to allow us to build a custom content portal for our eCalico business. As you can see, we set up the same authentication flow as we had in our dashboard. Once authenticated, we open the user into this portal, where we show the power of the Content Components library. Here we're showing on the left a content tree, which allows us to navigate through the SaaS content folder structure. Here we're going to dive into products, which then its content gets shown on the right-hand side in the content area. We can then continue browsing here through subdirectories until we get to some content. And here we see 3 reports. I can navigate back and forth here using the breadcrumb. I can also change the view to a list view if that's desired. I can also set up custom folder entries in the content tree. And so here I've set up one for portal with some curated portal content that we want to show. So first, I'm going to now open this report, Business Performance Analysis. And this is the same eCalico report that you've seen before. And it's also using the same VA report components technology to embed the SaaS report into this page. I can then open this back up, and we're going to jump over and open up a job. So this is a SaaS job that runs ODS output. And I can open that up here in my content area where it's going to show the prompts for my job. Here I'm just going to make a quick change to the ODS style, one of the prompts, and I'm going to run that code. That's going to go execute the job and show the output here in a separate browser tab. And here you can see the output of the SaaS job. So that shows you how we can use the Content Components library to embed content navigation components into our portal and allow our users to access all of their content and show it all in one place. So how do we do that? Let's jump over to the code real quick. Just to show the HTML, similar to the other SDK libraries, the Content Components library provides custom HTML elements that allow us to embed these things into HTML. But in this case, we're doing most of our setup in the JavaScript side. So I'll give you a preview here. Here we set up the definition for our portal folder in our content tree by giving it a custom folder URI. And then we can set up the initial state of that tree by telling it that we want to show both the portal folder as well as our root SaaS content directory. Then we're setting up initial filters here by saying that we only want to see jobs, folder content, and folders and reports. And then here we simply set up listeners for anytime selection changes in the content area or on the content tree. And in this case, we're calling custom code to set the selected content. That then allows us to write other custom JavaScript and HTML to fill out the rest of the application behavior. And that's all you need to start incorporating SaaS content into your corporate portals.
Thanks, Brad. So all of this is available through Embedded Insights through the SaaS via SDK for JavaScript. You see the capabilities listed here, and of course, there's more to come, completely driven by use cases. So we're interested to hear feedback, receive feedback from you. For more information about how you can learn more and access Embedded Insights capabilities, go to the SaaS Developer Portal, the Content Delivery Network, where you can access the SDK, communities.saas.com, our support community participated by external users as well as internal folks here at SaaS, and the SaaS GitHub site. So I'd like to sum it up by, thank you, and I hope you have an opportunity to embed insights that you discover in visual analytics into your custom properties.
Yes, thank you all for attending our SaaS breakout session. We really appreciate it.